welcome back to Australia again. What's going on with these donations that we're sending all this money to other countries when we are in such an economic crisis here? People are struggling to keep their head above water here in this country, and we're sending all this money overseas. So I want to take a little deeper dive into what's going on here. What's the reason behind it? I mean, the spending in Australia is crazy. I think we're $1.2 trillion in debt here now. We'll never get out of that. Want to say welcome to everybody first of all. Thank you for joining me. My name is Trishe. If you haven't seen me before, I'd like to dive in using the tarot and the oracles to see what's going on beneath the surface, to try and uncover the hidden secrets, the hidden information, the things that we're not being told. We're told to look here, what's going on over here. So I'm a little hormonal at the moment, and the only thing that really stirs me is Australian politics. So I'll do my very best to control myself here with this reading today. Try not to get too angry. I love reading different things going on around the world. I find it easy to read the UK and the US because I have no emotional connection to what's happening there. I empathize with you, and I know your struggles. I know how difficult it can be, but I feel freely that I can say and have an unbiased opinion when it comes to the UK and the US. But with Australia, it's difficult because I am affected by the changes. I'm affected by the challenges here, as we all are in Australia. So I'm going to read through some of the things that's going on in Australia, and I'm going to pull cards and see what the cards want to say, because after all, that's what you're here for. So let's see what the cards want to reveal about what's happening with Australia. Now, we seem to be doing some kind of strengthening with the islands around us, maybe there's a fear around China. So as I'm just asking, so outside the trusted circle, so this is showing me the circle of the islands around Australia, uniting them, giving them money, getting them on board to, maybe there's something there, there's fear around China maybe. Let's see what the cards want to see. Is it because of fear around China? I mean, we're donating this money, but China's donating infrastructure and Belt and Road projects. So information being withheld as to why this is happening, what money's really going to, or what it's being used for. So let me read through now and give you some facts as I go, and I'll ask the cards to pull information around the facts of what's actually happening. So first of all, we've got in the Indo-Pacific. Oh, there's so much. Okay, so there is a historic defence pact with Papua New Guinea. Australia and Papua New Guinea formally activated a treaty, a new mutual defence alliance. Australia's first in over 70 years, and PNG's, Papua New Guinea's, first ever. So that's strange. This strengthens the Australian Defence Force and the Papua New Guinea Defence Force cooperation. What's going on? Are they preparing for something here? Of course, Australia is a bottomless money pit. Pull my anger back. I'm normally quite very calm. Calm with the readings that I do, calm in general. But when it comes to Australia, I'm not even going there. Okay, so this is aiming to keep the Pacific an ocean of peace. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Yeah, but we're looking at our borders, strengthening our borders. So I'm going to take that to mean strengthening our borders in a very positive way. So we're looking at, we are the bottomless money pit necessary to strengthen borders and relationships within the Indo-Pacific, an ocean of peace. Using the power of persuasion and the bottomless money pit to persuade our Indo-Pacific neighbours to get on board with these treaties, strengthening the cooperation between the defence forces. Now, I wonder why they're doing that. Why are they doing that? So this is the first major strategic shift in regional security. Why? Okay, because it benefits our region, it benefits our ocean of peace, but also it maintains authority. Could that mean Australian authority, or Australian, I don't want to say authority, but Australian strength within our borders or within our partnerships within the Indo-Pacific, trying to maintain or retain that connection, as opposed to China coming in and doing all these Belt and Road projects for our close neighbours. Policies being overhauled. What kind of policies? What do you mean by that? Policies being overhauled, well, this is a formal treaty, is policy overhauling our ADF and PNG Defence Force cooperation, so that we are not isolated. Australia's not isolated against China's power. So we're just trying to strengthen our relationship and our defence cooperation with other countries. That's the overhauls that we're looking for. Also, maybe providing intervention. This is other countries getting involved in other countries. But I feel like being careful not to be isolated. We have to be combined, or a cooperative defence system is what I'm hearing, a defence system. Someone asked me to read on AUKUS, on the AUKUS deal, which is, again, a bottomless money pit. But why am I thinking about AUKUS right now against isolated outcasts or being isolated? Because that's not happening for a very long time. We're paying out all this money, and that we're not going to be seeing the results of that, or the submarines protecting our waters, for a very long time. We are isolated out here. We are far away from the Northern Hemisphere. We have to build strong relationships with our Indo-Pacific partners, because the intervention, this is America, is so far away. And so are our submarines. Very interesting. Okay, so we have China hitting Australian farmers with a 55% beef tariff. That's interesting. Now, the other thing where we're seeing money go, so we're seeing money go, I'm just moving down, we're seeing money go out to the AUKUS deal. So let me ask about the AUKUS deal, and then I'll get to Fiji and Albanese's Pacific tour and India visit. So we're gonna look at that as well. So first of all, I'm going to take a look at the AUKUS deal, because that's what somebody asked me to read on. Are we just going to be a bottomless money pit with this AUKUS deal, or can we get out of the AUKUS deal? Will it end, or will there be an outcome? So will we get the subs, or will this deal not happen? Will we be able to get out of it, or will it just end? Or will it go ahead as planned? So the situation here improves. I think there's a bit of fraudulent conduct going on. I'm not sure where that is. I'm not sure if it's to do with the money. I'm not sure if it's to do with black budget projects. I don't know. By me hearing that, is like they're showing all this money going in, but maybe the money covers other stuff as well. Selling secrets, or secretly, it could mean things going on secretively around this money being invested in the AUKUS deal. So the voice of the people, people needing to talk about it, people needing to stand up, which doesn't always happen here in Australia. There's a black-hearted, and I heard black budget projects, selfish agenda. A ruler, a shadow ruler, has a different agenda with this money that's being invested into the AUKUS deal. There is showing a improved situation, but there's a lot of energy here going on around misrepresentation or misuse of money, black projects, things going on in the shadows. Black, again, this is black heart, but I'm seeing it as black projects, or a selfish agenda when it comes to all of this money that's going into this AUKUS deal, this sub deal. So let me keep moving. Next up on the list that I'm seeing that's happening in Australia is Albanese's current Pacific tour. Didn't even know he was on one. An India visit. So PM Albanese visited Fiji and the Solomon Islands on the 5th to the 7th of July to strengthen security cooperation. So he's been busy in the Indo-Pacific with strengthening our relations. Again, do I ask why? I guess it would just be the same as I saw isolated outcasts. So we're not isolated. I just saw that flicking through then. To gain approval, to gain cooperation and external influence. So because I saw that card again of isolated outcast, Australia having to be careful that we're not vulnerable, being isolated from our Indo-Pacific neighbours. So that's all what's coming through. But this external influence is we need to strengthen our boundaries, our borders, when it comes to our cooperation and military defence cooperation with our Indo-Pacific partners, including PNG and Fiji, Solomon Islands, because they're the two that seem to be getting looked at. They're also looking at India. They're also visiting India as well. So we'll see if that's kind of connected. But he's trying to gain approval with our Indo-Pacific partners here. And again, brings to mind that bottomless money pit. Somebody's getting blamed for something. Okay, so Fiji, and I'm going to run through the money that's going to Fiji, which I was a bit shocked. I knew it was there. I knew there was donations, but there's a lot more to come. Let's look at India. What's the deal with visiting? So India's PM, Modi, is visiting Australia from July 8th to 10th. So he's here today. Today's the 10th for me, for the annual Leaders Summit. Multiple new ambassadors and high commissioners were appointed. What's being discussed with this? What's being discussed in the annual Leaders Summit taking place right now? Show me what's being discussed but not released. Shifting Alliances was a card that was trying to come out, so I've put it on the bottom of the deck. I did pull it out. If there's room for them, I will place it. And I'm not sure which order these two last cards came out. And there is room. So I am going to place that card that was trying to fall out. So what's being discussed in this summit? We're seeing foreign threats from, move that over. What's being discussed? The foreign threats, communist country. Foreign threats. Shifting alliances. National defense. Mourning a loss could just be a loss. So a loss of cooperation with our Indo-Pacific partners, and fear of Australia being isolated against communist country, most likely China. being isolated, there could be threats here. Shifting alliances is our Indo-Pacific partners aligning with China, and work needs to be done to have a military cooperation with these countries. This is what the cards are showing. So for the defense, or the national defense, they're saying for our Indo-Pacific partners, but I keep seeing the card of isolated outcasts being Australia, having to be careful not to being isolated, and our Indo-Pacific partners getting in bed with China through the Belt and Road project. It's all here. So we've had a loss recently of cooperation and partnership with our Fiji, Papua New Guinea, Solomon Islands, our Indo-Pacific partners, which is a risk to national defence from foreign threats, China, because of the shifting alliance and the Indo-Pacific partners engaging. And they're doing that for the infrastructure. They're doing that to bring them up with the infrastructure. So they're doing the Belt and Road, billions of dollars worth of investment from China in these countries to bring them forward. Now let me show you what the investment from Australia is with. So Australia is providing over 1.5 billion in grants, 1.5 Fijian dollars in grants and concessional loans confirmed. This is confirmed information. So under this newly signed treaty, another treaty, this is Fiji, Australia will provide more than 1.5 billion Fijian over the next decade. How this will be broken down is 1.1 billion in grants, 500,000 in concessional loans, 228 million for infrastructure, 146 million for digital transformation, is this data centres, 284 million for policy and anti-drug operations, 158 million for health system strengthening, and 46 million for Fijian students to study in Australia. Interesting. I didn't know this until I pulled this information up today. I knew there was money going to Fiji. When we're this bottomless money pit, $1.2 trillion in debt that I can't ever seeing us get out of. And we're just a bottomless money pit. But there's a reason behind it, absolutely. The cards are showing there's definitely a reason behind this. There is a national defense reason behind this that they're maybe not being so open about. There's a shifting alliance taking place towards China with our neighbours. And there's a risk of foreign threats. So let's just throw some money at it. I'm going to leave that one there. I may come back to Australia again when I'm not feeling quite so hormonal, so I can tackle this question with calmness. I think I held out pretty well. But with this, also with this summit that's taking place in Australia today, a certain question is being dodged. So they're dodging a certain question about something for national defense, or dodging a question around China. I'm not quite sure what that is, but something's being dodged here. I don't want to say dodging a bullet, but something's being dodged. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.